Hi VC, back again, back with another Gimme 10 from 1988. Obviously these aren't my main picks now, but there is still a slew of fantastic records here, and I reckon on another day, who knows, it's the same as 87, really a lot of the top 20 or 30 are probably interchangeable. Just so many fantastic records. Anyway, so let's get on with it. First one up this time is this one. It's Soundgarden's debut full length, as far as I remember. I think they just released some EPs before this. Released in '88 on SST before Sub Pop really got going, although Soundgarden didn't really release that much on Sub Pop, to be honest. I think it was a couple of singles and an appearance on Sub Pop 200, I think, or 100 or whatever it was. So there's the back cover. This is when they still had Hiro Yamamoto as the bass player. Okay. But the other members are the same. Matt Cameron, Kim Thale, and Chris Cornell. This really opened my eyes. This, along with Superfuzz Big Muff, it was just like an awakening. As if all my life I'd been waiting for somebody to do a mixture of punk and Black Sabbath. Which is basically what grunge really was. You know, sort of some people took it in different directions, added a bit of the Pixies in, but to start off with, it was a lot of Sabbath and a lot of punk. So this has got things like Flower on it, which is a brilliant track, Circle of Power, Smokestack Lightning cover, Nazi Driver. So it's just really great rock, heavy rock. Soundgarden did go off into sort of a more metal-y direction than a lot of the other grunge bands. Like Pearl Jam took it in the sort of almost jam band sort of ending up. I don't know, but they still retained a lot of that grunge sound. Nirvana, obviously, we all know where they went. Mudhoney just ploughed the same furrow, but all brilliant. Anyway, that's Soundgarden, Ultra Mega OK. Next one's been shown a lot. Fred showed it, and I think 6-inch Pianist showed it. Did 6-inch Pianist show it? I can't remember. But it's Talk Talk, Spirit of Eden. Just a beautiful album. I think Fred described it as the beginning of post-rock. I mean, so many things had their roots in '88. It's just, I just can't believe it. Looking back at it and like this, I just can't believe how much utterly, utterly fantastic music was released. It is just unbelievable. So this is just almost the sound of nothing. It's just gorgeous. I use that a lot with a lot of the albums from '88. I mean, I know ethereal, I suppose, was more to do with the Cocteau Twins, but this is the most ethereal male vocals I've ever heard in my life. It's just out there. It's just brilliant. No excuses for the next one. I love this record. I really love it. I know it's derivative as heck. Like, they copped a lot off Van Morrison and a lot of that Celtic rock sort of stuff, but this is Hothouse Flowers and this is People. Famously got their big break, I think, at the '87 Eurovision, or was it the '88 Eurovision, where they played, I don't know, it was one of the ones held in Ireland, obviously. I love this record. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Kind of that soulful Celtic rock type thing. Make no bones about it, it's not the greatest album in the world, but it's definitely one of my favourites. Love it. Probably one of the first classic Creation records is this one. This is A House of Love. This has been shown a lot as well. Obviously coming in on the back of the Smiths, it's in that kind of vein, but it's a harder edge to it. So you've got things like Christine, and Touch Me. But you've also got such a tender side to this record, so like Hope, Love in a Car, Man's Child. I mean, the lyricism on this is just absolutely brilliant. Just another gorgeous record with a harder edge this time. That's all the band members. And this was when Terry Bickers was still the guitarist. And to be honest, he supremely underrated guitarist, I think. Sure there's Terry Bickers in that? Yeah, it was. Anyway, House of Love. I think this has got shown by somebody as well. This is Loop, Fade Out. Just amazing. There's the inside. I first got into Loop because I bought the Black Sun 12-inch, which has got a cover of Mother Sky, Can's Mother Sky on it. And I just played that to death. And then I got this, and it was like, my God, possibly one of the heaviest records. It's definitely one of them. It's kind of groovy in a way as well. It's a lot of. It's almost death by riff on this record. Really, just fantastic. Oh, it's just so good. Right. Probably. Oh, I don't know. Thrash album of the year? Yeah, probably. Had to put this one in, and Justice for All. For me, it's the last great Metallica album. I know some people like the Black Album, and there are good tracks on it, but it's not a thrash album. I'm sorry, but it isn't. This is a great double album. I mean, it's when Metallica really started to sort of overstretch themselves a bit, and just everything seemed to last 10 minutes. But on this, they still held it together. Famously, the first album after Cliff Burton, they actually turned down Jason Newsted's bass, so you can hardly hear it, because they didn't have any confidence in him. Can you imagine that? Putting down bass for a whole album, then having it turned right down. I mean, what the... Talking about control freaks. Anyway, so the sound of this is quite... It's almost quite tinny. There's not a lot of depth to the sound of it. But... still a great album. Love it. One of my favourite artists from the 80s is Marquand, and this is The Stars We Are. I just thought this is one of the great pop records of all time. It's got one of my favourite singles on it, Tears Run Rings, which I think is an absolute gem. But things like Bittersweet, Only the Moment, Your Kisses Burn, and this is a very early pressing of it. He did get to #1 with Gene Pitney doing a cover of Something's Got a Hold in My Heart, but this pressing has got his solo version of it, and I think this is a really early pressing before that song hit #1. But a great artist, absolutely brilliant. Love Mark Almond. I think he was genius lyrically, absolutely brilliant. Next one, not very well known. This one, really not very well known. This is the Bambi Slam. With the Bambi Slam, kind of definitely an indie record. It's kind of like using feedback and noise, but over almost pop songs. A lot of some slightly bluesish stuff, but definitely taking their inspiration from the Mary Chain. More like the sort of later, not later, but maybe Darklands On. No, not Darklands, so that's quite I suppose April Sky sort of stuff. But also, I think, taking quite a bit of inspiration from the Poppies, because they use quite a lot of decent beats, and Love it. Bambi Slam. Brilliant album. On to something really well known. Viva Hate. Had to include this. Morrissey's first solo album. Some slightly dodgy lyrics on here, like Alsatian Cousin. It's a bit Bengali in platforms. I know what he's trying to do, but it's a bit... but it's got things like Every Day is Like Sunday, which is one of the great British pop records for me. Just sums up that dreariness that was still around in the 80s. Suede Head, of course. Margaret on the Guillotine. Should have happened earlier. I Don't Mind If You Forget Me, Die the Cliche. It's just great. It's more Morrissey. I can't remember who the guitarist was on this one. Oh, it was a mix between Stephen Street and Vinnie Riley, from the looks of it. So yeah, great solo debut. And then last up, I'm going to include a compilation. Now, probably not. This means a lot to me, actually. It was a budget compilation from Creation, and it's doing it for the kids. It was the price of a 7-inch single, but it's one of those. I just played this to death, and I bought this before I got a lot of the albums that came off. So we've got things like Jasmine Mink's Company Deep, which I love, Felt, Ballad of the Band, House of Love, Christine, Primal Scream, All Fall Down, which is brilliant. It's not on there. That was one of their early singles. Biff Bang Pow, which was Alan McGee's band, She Paints, Jazz Butcher, Lot 49, Heidi Berry, North Shore Train. She's going to feature in 89. Ooh, she's going to feature. Nicky Sudden, My Bloody Valentine, Cigarette in My Bed, probably the first track I heard by them, which is amazing. The Times, Go Devil, or God Evil, whichever way you want to do it. Razor Cuts, Brighter Now. It's just a great roundup. It is one of my favourite compilations, and I played this over and over again when I got it. Just fantastic. It was the state of indie, or that jangly indie in 88. So there we go. Nearly 13 minutes of just good memories and fantastic records. I hope you're enjoying my series of 1988. Only 5 to go. So I'll see you later. Bye, VC. See ya.